Number 10. Killing for content. Zachary Latham moved in with his grandparents in Vineland, New Jersey when he was 16 years old. The teenager soon developed strange feelings for his neighbors, especially 51-year-old veteran William T. Durham. William often complained to Zachary's grandparents about his reckless driving through the neighborhood. Zachary's grandfather had a talk with his grandson and warned him to clean up his act and insisted he apologize to William for his behavior. Zachary said sorry, but it wasn't really sincere. He kept on driving like a madman. It seemed his neighbors' complaints only fueled his unruly behavior. The relationship between Zachary and the Durham family became heavily strained for 2 years. They would often get into arguments, but slowly but surely, tensions arose. Zachary seemed to enjoy instigating fights with the Durham family and saw it as an opportunity to create content for his TikTok. He even posted a video of him calling William's wife a Karen after she begged him to stop driving like he was in Fast and the Furious. One day, Zachary almost ran over William's son. That was enough for the two men to get into a heated argument. Zachary got a couple of knives and a gun from his house and headed outside to confront Durham and his wife. Zachary then fired his gun at one of Durham's sons. Zachary slashed William in the arm with his knife before retreating into his garage. Meanwhile, Zachary's wife was recording the whole encounter for TikTok. William was stabbed under the armpit, puncturing his lungs, and police were called and William was taken to the hospital where he later died. William's lawyers believe that Zachary lured William to his death in hopes of gaining social media notoriety. He continually messed with his neighbors so that he could record their reactions for TikTok. He even bragged about killing William in a video. Zachary was charged with first-degree manslaughter and 2 second-degree counts of assault. Number 9. The Suitcase. In July 2020 in Seattle, Washington, teenagers making a TikTok video found a suitcase washed up on a beach. In the video, the teens are excited about finding something so random. Hoping it's money or something else valuable, they wanted to record themselves opening it up. But the closer they got to it, they realized an awful smell was coming from it. The TikTokers were beyond shocked when they discovered 2 dismembered bodies stuffed inside. They called police, who came to identify the remains as belonging to 35-year-old Jessica Lewis and 27-year-old Austin Cash Wenner. The couple had been shot to death and stuffed inside the suitcase. Upon investigation, it was discovered that Jessica and Austin had been murdered by their landlord, 62-year-old Michael Dudley. Detectives said that 10 days before the bodies were discovered, neighbors heard yelling and gunshots at Dudley's house. Lewis was found to have died on June 16 from multiple gunshot wounds, while Wenner died the next day from a gunshot wound to the torso. An exact motive for the killing has not been confirmed, but prosecutors believe Dudley was upset with Wenner about not paying rent on time and for, quote, bringing potential criminal activity to the home, end quote. According to court documents, Dudley was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and is held on $5 million bond. Number 8. Sibling murder. In 2021 in Pennsylvania, 14-year-old Claire Miller was accused of stabbing her 19-year-old wheelchair-bound sister to death at their home while their parents slept. Police say she then called 911 shortly after 1 a.m. in a hysterical state, allegedly telling law enforcement she had just killed her sister Helen. Cops say they found the teen outside the family home, covered in blood and trying to wash her hands in the snow. Claire pointed them to Helen's bedroom, where she was discovered with a pillow covering her face and a knife wound in her neck. Before Claire killed her sister, she posted a now viral video on her TikTok. Her account has been since shut down. According to Business Insider, Claire's account, believed to be Spirits and Such Consulting, was flagged for violating the app's community guidelines, which prohibit users who promote violence or engage in acts of violence. Miller had over 22,000 followers on TikTok before her account was taken down, though it was unclear if news of her arrest had boosted her numbers. The circumstances of the stabbing are not known. Claire is currently in police custody and is being charged as an adult because Pennsylvania does not consider homicide as a delinquent act. Number 7. The Crash. TikTok star and British influencer 22-year-old Mahek Bukhari has been charged with murder after 2 young men died in a horrific car crash in February 2022 in the UK. Mahek has more than 120,000 followers on TikTok and 43,000 on Instagram. Many of her posts show her modeling different outfits. She also posts makeup tutorials and other videos, some featuring her mother. Mahak praised her relationship with her mom and had recently made a chilling TikTok video in which she joked about killing someone. Quote, "Babe, I killed someone today," end quote, the video joked. The young influencer had also recently come under scrutiny after posting a video of a flashy car swerving recklessly on the road. The video prompted a TikTok warning statement that, quote, "participating in this activity could result in you or others getting hurt," End quote. On the morning of February 11th, 20-year-old Saqib Hussein and 21-year-old Mohammed Hashim Ijazuddin died after being, quote, driven off the road and crashing into the central reservation of the A46 in Leicester. Police say a gray Audi TT and a blue Seat Leon were also traveling, quote, at speed in the area at the time of the collision. Upon hitting the central reservation, the victim's car was split in two, having allegedly been chased and rammed while driving. Prosecutors said that during the high-speed chase, one of the victims called 999 to alert police. He said, quote, unfortunately, a loud scream could be heard from the caller, and the call disconnected, end quote. While vehicle-related deaths would more commonly result in manslaughter charges, the allegations that Mahek chased and rammed the victim's vehicle has resulted in murder charges. Number 6. Set on fire. In December 2020, a man in China was sentenced to death a year after he set his ex-wife on fire while she was live streaming on the Chinese version of TikTok called Douyin. Lamo, a 30-year-old Tibetan woman and mother of two, was killed after her ex-husband Tong Lu doused her in gasoline and burned her alive at her father's home in the southwestern province of Sichuan. Lamo was filming a video in the kitchen. She was dancing and laughing and having a good time. That is until Tang Lu reportedly broke into the home armed with a cleaver and gasoline and started attacking her in front of her family members. The vlogger sustained burns on 90% of her body and was left fighting for her life for more than 2 weeks in the hospital. Some reports from Chinese media suggested that the suspect was seeking revenge because Lamo had filed for divorce due to domestic violence. Lamo had over 782,000 followers and 6.3 million likes before being assaulted by her vengeance-seeking ex-husband. Number 5. Just a prank. In 2021, twin brothers Alex and Alan Stokes came under fire after filming prank videos for TikTok where they pretended to rob a bank. In one of the videos, they are shown making a getaway of sorts while wearing ski masks and carrying a big duffel bag filled with money. In this bizarre attempt at a prank, the twins asked random people on the street to help them. They asked people for clothes to change into or a car to make an escape, but most of the bystanders simply shrugged them off. The Stokes twins called an Uber thinking it might make for a funny interaction on camera. When the driver showed up, he was shocked at what he saw and refused to give them a ride. Someone on the street called the cops thinking the twins were trying to steal the car. The police weren't informed enough on the situation, so when they arrived, they didn't know who was or wasn't involved. The Uber driver was held at gunpoint while the cops got to the bottom of the situation. The police weren't happy when they found out it was all just a prank. You can't just harass innocent people and expect it to be let go after saying it was a joke. The twin brothers, who have a total of about 30 million followers, have been charged with false imprisonment and falsely reporting an emergency. What would you do if you were an Uber driver? Tell us in the comments and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Number 4. Shocking content. A 25-year-old man gave his life while shooting a TikTok video near a railway track in Haryana, India. According to reports, it's being said that the man Vikesh and his friend had gone to the railway track at 4 a.m. to shoot some videos for their TikTok. Vikesh climbed the electrical poles to get a better angle for the shot, but it didn't go as well as he had hoped. He kept climbing higher and higher until he accidentally touched a high-voltage wire, allowing the electrical current to course through his body. While he was on the pole, his friend was standing on the ground below. When his friend realized Vikesh had come in contact with the current, he just ran away, leaving Vikesh all alone in an awful situation. Vikesh died at the spot, and his body remained on the high-voltage wires for nearly 2 hours. A passerby found him on the wires and reported it to the police. Railway authorities immediately switched off the power to the wires and took his body down. He had burns all over him and was injured since he had been on the wires for hours. His body was sent to the nearest hospital for investigation and an autopsy. According to the initial reports by police, it seemed that Vikesh and his friend were drunk when they had gone to the railway track for the TikTok videos. Police took his phone into custody to get the inside story behind the whole incident. Getting killed by falling on high voltage wires just for a video doesn't seem like an appropriate way for a young man to die. Number 3. Falling from a crane. The death of Chinese TikTok star Zhao Kuimei left fans around the world broken-hearted. Zhao lost her life after falling from a crane at a height of 160 feet or just under 50 meters. She used to post daily videos about her life and job on the Chinese version of TikTok and had gained a large number of followers in the process. She worked as a professional crane operator for her day job, and during her breaks, she used to do live streams. As usual, she was doing a stream when she suddenly fell from the crane and landed on the ground with her phone. Everyone watching her live stream bore witness to the deadly plunge. The viewers said that they were watching her and then all of a sudden the video went blurry. There was also a witness who said that he saw Queen fall from the crane. He even said she had her phone in her hand while she was in the air. We don't really know what happened or how she fell off, but her family has confirmed that she is dead. Number 2, flood stream. In the Darbhanga district of Bihar, a man named Kasim tried to record a video of himself doing stunts while diving into a wild stream of floodwater. Kasim dived into the flowing water to get some footage for his TikTok while his friend was recording him, but it appeared Kasim was having difficulty in staying afloat as the water started flowing at a terrible speed. Seeing him struggling in the water, Kasim's friend Afzal dived into the water and tried to save him. Even though Kasim was the one originally doing the stunt, he made it out of the stream alive, but Afzal ended up dying while trying to rescue him. The water was so fast that Afzal didn't get a chance to make it out. He was caught in the current and drowned. When people found out that he had drowned, they dived into the stream to try and save him too, but they couldn't find him, which meant he was already gone. After searching for him for hours, they finally found his body. The National Disaster Response Force also found his phone where he had a bunch of videos and pictures of diving into the floodwater with his friends. The selfies showed that they had been doing stunts like this for a long time, but in this case, the flood stream won. Number 1, railway stunt. Making stunt videos can be extremely dangerous, especially if something goes wrong. Sadly, something went very wrong for a 22-year-old man when he was challenged by his friend to make a TikTok video on a railway track. Supposedly, the man was walking on the railroad and his friend was shooting a video when a train came out of nowhere and hit him. They both knew that the train would come eventually, and it was the whole purpose of the stunt to let the train pass by. But things went upside down for the poor guy who ended up losing his life. No one really knows whether they were trying to stop the train or let it pass at the last minute, but now it's too late. Even though he was taken to the nearest hospital by a friend, he didn't survive after receiving a head injury from the impact. Although it may seem obvious to most of us, you shouldn't be messing around with something that could potentially kill you. Number 10, the fake billionaire. In 2020, a flamboyant Nigerian Instagram user known by the name Hushpuppy was busted in a cyber scam worth millions, $431 million to be exact. Hushpuppy's real name is Raymond Abbas, and he has 2.4 million followers on the popular social media platform. He doesn't really do a lot, he just shows off his lavish lifestyle of driving luxury cars, wearing designer clothes, and flying across the globe on private jets. However, his life of leisure all came to an end when he was busted in Dubai for a crazy scheme in which he ripped off credit card information from innocent people. All of this wild and absurd posts of him holding up money to his ear like it's a phone and smiling with all his gold chains caught the attention of government agencies. They discovered he was targeting victims overseas by making fake websites. These websites were merely copies of well-known companies and banks. He got people to put in their credit card information and then was able to steal their hard-earned money. Raymond passed himself off as an extremely wealthy real estate developer, but the whole truth is that he was just a great big scummy scamming fake. Apple, Instagram, and Snapchat records are all detailed at length in an affidavit for the case, all of which helped investigators confirm Hushpuppy's identity and address. His apartment in Dubai was raided by the FBI and Interpol while he was sound asleep. They managed to secure $37 million in cash that he just had laying around his place. The investigators also found about 2 million email addresses from victims stored on computers, phones, and hard drives. And even though he got busted in Dubai, the Nigerian fake billionaire is still accused of fraud in Europe and the United States. He could spend up to 20 years in prison for his crimes. Safe to say he won't be posting anything on Instagram for quite some time. Number 9, living her best life. Security personnel at the 2020 Super Bowl in Miami had to tackle a woman as she ran out onto the field and tried to expose herself to the crowd of spectators and everyone watching from home. The woman was escorted away after a brief altercation with security guards, but she was dead set on revealing herself to everyone. Even as she was being dragged off the field, she lifted her dress up. The attempted streaker was Kelly Kay, an amateur Instagram model. Kelly even posted a picture of herself being escorted off the field on her Instagram account with a rather bizarre caption. She labeled the photo, "Do what you want, when you want, life's too short to have regrets." Okay, Kelly, we aren't quite sure what you meant by that. So as far as we know, the Instagram model hasn't really gotten into trouble for creating the disruption at the game. Kelly's also been linked to other Instagram accounts responsible for more streaking and flashing incidents at other sporting venues. Wow. It appears Kelly and her friends really are just out here, quote, doing what they want when they want. Number 8. Goodies. The nakedness doesn't end, folks. Natalia Borodina, a popular Instagram model in Russia, was showing off her goodies while vacationing in the Dominican Republic when something horrible happened. The 35-year-old internet star was hanging outside the window of a speeding car while another individual in the car filmed her using a cell phone. She was completely topless during this. It was supposed to be a fun, cool clip for her viewers, but there was absolutely nothing fun or cool about what happened next. From out of nowhere, a lamppost appeared on the side of the road. Natalia's head slammed into the post, and she cracked her skull so hard that her head nearly fell off her body. It's pretty crazy she or the driver recording her didn't see it. We guess they were just too busy with her goodies. The video taken from inside the car was actually online for a bit, but has since been taken down. Towards the end of the video, you can hear the driver screaming as he realizes what has happened to his naked friend. She was immediately rushed to the hospital, but there was nothing the doctors could do to save her. The worst part of all of this is she leaves behind an 8-year-old son. It's believed that she left the boy at home to go do some topless videos. And now, the poor kid will never see his mom again. Number 7. The secret ingredient. In 2017, 21-year-old Instagram model Yamna Fuad got busted in Miami after a string of dates went horribly wrong. She would lure men in with her sexy posts and then meet up with them for dinner and drinks. Except when they weren't looking, she would slip her secret ingredient, aka roofie, into their cocktail. Once her dates were out of it, she would steal all of their stuff, and she did this to multiple men all along the East Coast from New York to Miami. The charges she faces include several counts of grand theft larceny, and last we heard she was being held in jail without bail. According to one of her victims, the Instagram model invited herself back to his place, where she offered him a massage and some drinks, but the next thing he knew, it was morning, and she was long gone, and so was all of his stuff, including jewelry, totaling over $32,000. Several months later, the victim spotted Yamna standing outside of a club. He immediately recognized her and told the bouncers she was a thief. They detained her until police arrived and took her to jail. She's since been connected to a string of other robberies in which she roofied unsuspecting men who were hoping for a good time. Number 6. Psycho. Brisa Dominguez Garcia, an Instagram model, was arrested in 2017 in Florida for trespassing at a hotel and attacking a cop. And to make matters worse for the influencer, she was completely naked during the whole ordeal, even when the police brought her into custody. Lots of nudity going on in today's list, eh? Brisa was found at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Clearwater by the police early in the morning on July 5th. Employees at the hotel had complained about a disturbance, claiming that Brisa refused to leave the premises. Before taking her to jail, one of the officers tried to give her a towel to cover herself up with, but she refused. She then attacked the officer, slapping him in the face, trying to kick him, and even tried to bite him. It's not really clear what she was doing at the hotel, but the police affidavit did say that she was under the influence of alcohol. Brisa is now facing charges of battery on a law enforcement officer, trespassing, and resisting with violence. Somehow, she was released on bond less than 12 hours later and is still currently posting pictures on Instagram. Do you know any Instagram models that have been in trouble like this? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Number 5. Crypto criminal. In 2020, a Russian rapper residing in the United States was arrested by the FBI for money laundering. The FBI used Instagram pictures as evidence in which the rapper incriminated himself by posting huge stacks of cash in both dollars and Russian rubles. The guy's name is Maxim Boyko, and he was laundering money in the United States using cryptocurrency. He was also conspiring with organized crime syndicates all across the world. The scam may have continued if he had just been a little bit more careful. He flew into Los Angeles with $20,000 in cash and claimed it was from an investment in Bitcoin. The authorities were pretty skeptical though, so they kept an eye on him, began an investigation, and yes, creeped on his Instagram. The guy was literally found out because he wasn't smart on the social media platform. The feds realized he was laundering money and shut Boyko down. Number 4. The Suitcase. In 2019, 24-year-old Instagram influencer Katerina Karaglanova was stabbed multiple times and then put into a suitcase and left inside her Moscow apartment. Sadly, her parents were the ones to find her. After their daughter didn't answer their calls for almost an entire week, they decided to go check on her at her place. They let themselves in with a spare key and were shocked and devastated by what they discovered. But who put her in the suitcase? How did this happen? Ekaterina had a large following on Instagram, and she was also a qualified doctor. She had it all, beauty and brains, and people took notice. One man in particular, 33-year-old Maxim Garayev, became obsessed with her. Police were quick to connect him to the brutal murder. It became known that Ekaterina actually had a twisted relationship with Garayev. He would give her money on occasion, and this led him to believe that she had feelings for him. She did not. She was only using him to fund her attractive lifestyle, traveling around with her new boyfriend. Ekaterina tried to cut it off with Garayev, but he didn't like that. He confessed to police that she pushed him over the edge by mocking him and telling him he would need to save up for a year just for her to want to meet up with him again. He snapped and killed her and then stuffed her body into the suitcase. Number 3, dumb dealer. There's been a lot of stupid drug dealers that have been busted selling drugs, all thanks to their Instagram account. This particular bust happened in 2017 in the Bay Area after the suspected dealer let an undercover agent with the DEA follow him on the social media platform. This guy's name is Marcos Hatch, and he was literally posting pictures of narcotics he was trying to sell. He also posted pictures with huge stacks of cash that he made selling those very drugs. Authorities then began monitoring Hatch's account and identified 20 photos advertising prescription painkillers and Xanax. Police believe he used the hashtag Holla to invite customers to purchase illegal drugs. According to the affidavit released by the DEA, they learned of this guy from a different man in the area suspected of dealing drugs. In other words, a snitch. It was one of the easiest investigations ever. The undercover officer requested to follow the dealer on Instagram. He accepted, and the pictures Hatch posted were enough proof for authorities to get a warrant to search his home, where they not only found drugs, but also an AK-47. What an idiot. Number 2, Diamond Bandits. Last year in 2021, Instagram helped the FBI catch a group of diamond thieves who had committed crimes in at least 10 states across the country. These were, quote, smash and grab bandits who were terrorizing jewelers. They are currently accused of pulling off over 30 heists. The robbers used sledgehammers to break open the display cases, and then they would stuff whatever they could into their bags and make a run for it. Not the cleanest of crimes, but it was pretty lucrative. More than $1.5 million in diamonds was seized during the FBI's investigation. The members of the gang all came from the city of Detroit, and the only reason that they got caught is because of social media. It happened when federal officers discovered a peculiar Instagram account called DoItFor_Diamond. Apparently it was used by different members of the gang. One of them had posted a picture on the account wearing a necklace that was stolen from one of the jewelers. It was enough for the feds to connect the dots and lead them to the Detroit gang. 3 of the robbers were arrested while they attempted to break into a jewelry store in Tennessee on June 18th. There were actually 2 groups that would drive to the robbery location from Detroit in separate vehicles. One in a clean car that was either properly registered or lawfully rented, and the other group drove in a stolen vehicle that could be ditched easily after the robberies. Not all of the men have been caught though, because the FBI believes there were at least 10 gang members involved. So we'll have to wait and see if they get caught too. Number 1, Miss Mercedes. In 2021, 33-year-old Janae Gagne, known online as Miss Mercedes, was a popular Instagram model who was found strangled to death in her Texas apartment in an apparent murder-suicide. Janae had 2.6 million followers on the social media platform. The man suspected of killing her is 34-year-old Kevin Alexander Accorto of Florida. He was also found dead inside the apartment from, quote, multiple sharp force trauma. According to a medical examiner who ruled his death a suicide, Janae's family told investigators there was no relationship between her and Accorto, leading them to suspect that he had been stalking her. According to her sister London, who posted on Instagram, she was killed in the sickest way by an out-of-state stalker who had been following the model online. She added, "My heart is gone, my soul is gone." Some of Janae's Instagram followers included famous rappers like Meek Mill, Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, and Megan Thee Stallion. Number 10, Mouse Murder. 23-year-old Naomi Anderson wept in court as she claimed that the person who had been indicted on charges of animal cruelty was a deeply troubled individual just looking for attention. That person being Naomi herself. But what did she do? In July of 2011, Anderson bought a mouse from a local pet store. She then decapitated the mouse in a now-deleted video posted on Facebook. In the video, Naomi calmly decapitates the mouse using a kitchen knife. She then recorded the poor creature for 40 seconds as it died. She uploaded the sick video under the alias Shabella King. On the profile, she made some extremely bizarre statements, describing herself as a Satanist and saying she liked to, quote, regularly engage in blood drinking. What the heck? Naomi suffered from dissociative personality disorder, aka split personalities, something her legal team tried to argue in court to get her sentence reduced. The court listened to the case, but were largely unsympathetic, calling the act aberrant and repugnant. In spite of this, the woman received a minimum sentence of 18 months probation and 180 hours worth of community service instead of a conviction. Animal activists argue that she'd gotten off with a slap on the wrist. Naomi was ordered by the magistrate not to purchase another animal for the next 2 years. She would also have to regularly update the magistrate with psychological evaluations. Number 9. Breakfast bet. 16-year-old Joshua Davies lured his ex-girlfriend to a secluded place and beat her to death. Why? To win a stupid bet that he had made with a friend on Facebook about getting some free breakfast. Joshua Davies only dated Rebecca Aylward for about 3 months. Her family seemed to like him okay, and everything seemed pretty normal. They were just a couple of teenagers caught up in the heat of their first major relationship. But after they broke up, things got weird. Rebecca really wanted to get back together with Joshua, but little did she know that he had been bragging to friends on Facebook that he was going to murder her. He even made a bet to get a free breakfast if he really went through with it. Obviously, he didn't think things through. Teenagers aren't the sharpest tools in the shed after all. Joshua reached out and asked Rebecca if she wanted to go on a date. Rebecca thought that they might get back together, and she was pretty excited about it. She went shopping for a new outfit to impress him, completely unaware that it would be the last date she would ever have. Joshua took her into the woods and tried to break her neck. When she screamed and tried to get away, he picked up a rock and bashed her skull in with it. He just left her face down in the rain to be found hours later. Afterwards, when Joshua was telling his friends online, he said the worst part of it all was seeing her skull literally cave in. He was given the juvenile equivalent of life in prison, ordered to serve a minimum of 14 years, all because he thought he could get some free bacon and eggs. Number 8. Oops. A man from Missouri was arrested because he forgot to hide a giant bag of meth in a picture that he uploaded on Facebook. The guy was obviously not very bright. Not only did he leave a bag of methamphetamine on the table in the background of this picture, he also left a syringe, a spoon, and what looked like other paraphernalia for weighing and bagging drugs. There was also a pistol that he was legally not allowed to own in the picture too. But why did this guy post such an obvious picture of his illegal activities? This individual, James Kurtz, wasn't trying to get arrested. He was actually trying to sell a catalytic. He took a photograph of the object he was trying to sell, but in the picture on the coffee table was a mini meth lab. Someone sent the photo to police, and authorities were able to get a search warrant to look around his house. They discovered 48 grams of meth. Maybe you don't know how much that is, so let me assure you it's way too much for one single person to have. It's an absolutely absurd amount. Number 7. Hiring a hitman on Facebook. In July of 2010, an unnamed woman approached police claiming she'd just been raped. The woman told police that she got drunk at a party and was sexually assaulted by another partygoer. This partygoer was 19-year-old Corey Christian Adams. Police in Westchester, Pennsylvania apprehended the suspect and brought him in for questioning. The woman claimed that Adams had offered to drive her home, but after she passed out at some point, Adams started cutting open her pants with a knife. The woman regained consciousness temporarily while he was committing the act and repeatedly told Adams no. After police revealed that there were charges levied against him for the crime, an infuriated Adams took to Facebook to vent out his frustration. However, instead of posting a rant, Adams posted an ad for a hitman. "I got $500 on a girl's head. Who wants that bread? And hit me up any way possible." An undercover detective decided to track Adams' activity regarding the post and contacted him for the job. Adams went on to set a meeting with the detective, but never showed up. He then added another post stating that he needed the girl, quote, knocked off right now. Adams accepted a plea agreement which carries an 11 to 22-year state prison sentence, followed by 3 years of probation on charges of rape, criminal solicitation of murder, and other counts. Number 6. For sale. 2 siblings, a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old, have been placed in Oklahoma State custody after their mother allegedly tried to sell the pair on Facebook. The woman, Misty Van Horn, contacted a potential, quote, buyer for the purchase of her 2-year-old, the price of the child being $1,000. Van Horn allegedly wrote, quote, just come to Sallisaw and you can have her, the child, for $1,000 plus all of her things, but I need the money before next week. The mother went on to offer her 10-month-old infant for sale too, saying you can have both for $4,000. Van Horn was arrested by the Sallisaw police after an acquaintance reported the situation to the Department of Human Services. The 22-year-old mother of 2 was arrested in March of 2013 by the Sallisaw police for child trafficking and placed on $40,000 bond. People who knew her reported that this wasn't the first time that Van Horn had tried to auction off her children. She tried to sell her kids off for a quick buck on multiple occasions. Misty Van Horn claimed that she needed the money urgently to bail her boyfriend out of jail, as his bail was set at $1,000. We think both should stay in jail for a while. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Number 5. Relationship status. Quote, if I can't have her, no one else can either, because I'd kill her first. End quote. This is what a witness testified they heard Brian Lewis, 31, say in regards to his common-law wife, 26-year-old Haley Jones. Lewis and Haley shared a home in Cardiff with their 4 children. On May 26, 2009, Lewis stabbed and strangled Haley. He then made a call to alert emergency medical services before fleeing the scene and leaving her body there for her kids to find. Lewis claimed to not have been involved with his wife's murder at all, but witness testimonies revealed that the couple had been having some trouble in their relationship for a while. Lewis had lost his job earlier that year, and Haley, who had been a homemaker while Lewis worked, took up a job as a caretaker to support the family. Friends said that Lewis became increasingly suspicious and jealous after his wife spent hours on Facebook every day. Haley had planned on expanding her social horizons, but Lewis wasn't fond of that idea. The woman would then do so in secret, which led to fights between the two. It all came to a head when Haley changed her relationship status on the site from married to single. Lewis and Haley got into an argument which led to a physical altercation. Lewis claimed that Haley threw a couple of punches at him and he simply retaliated. The stabbing was later revealed to have been non-fatal, but Lewis continued to strangle Haley until she eventually died from asphyxiation. Haley Jones was found by her kids after Lewis fled the scene. Lewis had been jailed on charges of manslaughter. Haley's mother reported that Lewis had contacted the family multiple times in desperate attempts to rekindle his relationship with his children, but she just wants him to leave them alone. Number 4. Facebook confession. Randy Jansen made perhaps the worst confession on Facebook ever. We've all seen people write some pretty crazy things in Facebook posts, but Randy really took it to the next level. He wrote about how he murdered his 19-year-old daughter, his wife, and his own sister. He wasn't joking either, he really did it. Randy said in a post that he killed his daughter so that she wouldn't have to suffer from depression anymore, and he killed his wife because he said a mother should never have to know that their baby died. And as for his sister, he admitted that he killed her so she wouldn't have to live with the shame of knowing what her brother did. Clearly, Randy was nuts. The murders took place near Vancouver, Canada. Randy shot all of them. In his crazy Facebook post, Randy wrote that his family is now, quote, pain-free and in heaven. He even used kiss emojis, which seemed really inappropriate, all things considered. But before police could track this guy down, he was already dead. His house had caught fire, went up in flames, and Randy's charred corpse was found in his bed. Karma? Number 3. High school flight. In 2019, a mother from Louisiana was arrested for sharing a video of her son getting into a fight at his local high school. According to the Scott Police Department, Megan Atkins Barris posted the disturbing video of her son getting beat up on Facebook after he sent her the video. She wasn't even there, and her kid didn't even try to hide what happened. In the video, you can clearly see Megan's son getting punched in the face so hard by another student that he falls to the ground, cracking his head on a concrete bench. We aren't sure what exactly the kids were fighting over, but they too were arrested and charged with misdemeanor offenses. The mom was charged with unlawful posting of criminal activity. In the state of Louisiana, you're not allowed to post crime videos on social media, even if the crime is a fistfight at your kid's high school. Number 2. The Fouad Moutada Affair. There are more accounts on Facebook than there are people on Earth. Some people create multiple accounts for themselves for one reason or another, and others create fake accounts for very specific reasons. A court in Morocco found that Fouad Moutada was guilty of a villainous act after he created a fake profile. But why was Mourtada's case sensationalized? Well, he created a fake account impersonating Prince Moulay Rashid of Morocco, the brother of King Mohammed VI of Morocco. Mourtada, an engineer, was convicted February 23, 2008 for a charge that landed him 3 years in prison plus an additional 10,000 dirhams in damages. Fouad stated that he created the account in January of 2008 solely because he admired the prince. His lawyer claimed that Fouad was being incriminated for something that was very commonplace. Fouad stated that he was kidnapped, blindfolded, interrogated, persecuted, slapped, spat on, and beaten for hours with a tool on his head and the legs until he lost consciousness several times, and the notion of time. Activists protested when he was incarcerated and petitioned for his release. On the evening of March 18, 2008, Fouad was released by a royal pardon after spending 43 days in jail. Number 1. Friend Request. Medhani Tesfamariam Barhay. Try saying that name 3 times fast. Spent 3 years in jail in Italy for a crime he didn't commit. While unfortunate situations like this aren't unheard of, what really shocked people was that Barhay served jail time over mistaken identity and a Facebook friend request. Medhani Yedhigo Mered, also known as the General, was a wanted man in Palermo for several crimes, including human trafficking. The man wanted by Italian police was living comfortably in Africa, but Barhay was the one who served his time. The entire ordeal occurred after Barhay sent Mered's wife a friend request over Facebook. Police found this activity suspicious, but Barhay just thought she was pretty. Police apprehended the 32-year-old milkman and occasional carpenter on charges of human trafficking based on a case of mistaken identity. Barhay was made to stand trial under Mered's name, and was even assigned a prison number under his identity as well. He'd have spent the next 14 years in prison doing another man's time if he hadn't been acquitted of all charges by a judge in Sicily. Medhani Tesfamariam Barhay recounted several instances where he wanted to end his life. However, he never let go of hope, and in 2019, Barhay walked out of a prison as a free man for a crime he didn't commit after 3 years of being incarcerated. Thanks for watching. What's the worst thing you've seen on Facebook? Tell us about it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time on The Bad Badger.